Superb evening here in Bordeaux, France. Spring is upon us. The city is at ease. People are out on the terrace having nibbles and drinks before supper. It's superb. And in this good mood, I want to talk about something which is not such a good mood, but nevertheless part of our world. There's an art house theater here, a famous one called Utopia, and I just went and saw One Battle After Another, this extraordinary American film that won, if I'm not mistaken, the best picture for the Academy Awards this year. Now, as you may know, it's about a frenzied struggle between right and left, between white America first and the immigrant population. And it's frenetic, and it's won more awards, and it, for me, having been born in America, and thinking back to my civics textbook of almost 50 years ago, this wasn't supposed to happen. This wasn't on the cards for the United States of America. And the fact that we have reached this point is dispiriting of all means. But for me, because oddly enough, it's one of those reversals that I watch the news and I see the bad things that happen, and I'd taken it in, I thought, but curiously, a quasi-fictional dramatization in a film, in a darkened theater, like in the old days when I was in high school and university, I went to movies all the time. It was that kind of experience. I went with someone who was very alert, attentive, interested in film, and it was an intense experience. But as America, it was dreadfully depressing, because it made it all vivid, the terrible, terrible mess it all is. Now, if I would put this in perspective, because I've begun this theme already about unbroken Canada. Because Canada is unbroken, you folk, you Canadians, don't have the necessity to see one battle after another, because whatever Canada's difficulties are, you're not going through that. That's emphatic. And this is a kind of redemption. The film is important. Of course, Canadians will see it. It's about your most important neighbor, even now, despite Trump. And yet, it's not Canada. The Canadian problems of a different order. And because you couldn't make one battle after another in the same frenetic way about Canada, is the reason that I find Canada so attractive and rewarding and potentially such a good partner in a world otherwise verging on being a mess. Now, we can't control everything, however strong we think we are, and we have lots of will, and we're organized and we're caring, and we respect for traditional institutions and rules and common sense. And these things make us strong, and I've said this overarching alliance between Western Europe, well, the whole of Europe, the European Union, but the whole of Europe. Canada is our linchpin, as I've said over and over again. And then there's the east coast of Asia, Japan, South Korea, and of course Australia and New Zealand. This group of shared capitalist democracies who can regulate capitalism. Half of America's problems is its unwillingness to regulate the forces of capitalism. And not to be contentious here, but Karl Marx warned us about this. Capitalism is one of the most extraordinary human inventions, its ability to concentrate wealth, concentrate the ownership of property, concentrate the command of enterprise in fewer and fewer hands, has come true. That isn't to endorse Marx here. It isn't to say being a Marxist, but Marx was, he understood capitalism in a way that, sometimes I think the editors at the Wall Street Journal simply don't. So there we begin. Nevertheless, unbroken, our ally in the making, a country about which one battle after another could not be made, certainly in the same vein. And that's a good thing. In the meantime, let's build it. Anyway, as I say at the end of all these, because I'm mindful of being here in France, Vive le Canada, libre. We need you, and I suspect you need us. Okay, have a super evening wherever you are.